In our fifth story, not only was Brewer unprepared to deliver her prepared opening statement, but her evening ended when she bolted from reporters asking her about her own claims of decapitated torsos in the Arizona desert. That's right. To paraphrase the old New York Post headline, headless bodies and clueless governors. Last night was the first, and one now expects the last, debate between Jan Brewer and Democratic opponent Arizona Attorney General Terry Goddard, as well as the Libertarian and Green Party challengers. Brewer leading the Democrat by as much as 20 points in recent polling, so all the governor had to do last night was play keep away. Instead, during her opening remarks, Brewer got more lost than Bobby and Cindy Brady in the Grand Canyon.
Finally, we hear from Jan Brewer.
Thank you, Ted, and it's great to be here with Larry, Barry, and Terry, and thank you all for watching us tonight. I have done so much, and I just cannot believe that we have changed everything since I become your governor in the last 600 days. Arizona has been brought back from its abyss. We have cut the budget, we have balanced the budget, and we are moving forward. We have done everything that we could possibly do. We have did what was right for Arizona. I will tell you that I have really did the very best that anyone could do.
Since I had come. Unfortunately for Brewer, that 10-second period of silence might have been her most effective use of time all night. Her claim of a balanced budget was false. The Atlantic website pointing to the Arizona State Legislature's projections a $700 million shortfall for the next fiscal year. Brewer's Democratic opponent took her to task for the budget lie. He also went after the governor for her anti-immigrant fear-mongering over the summer when Brewer was claiming the state needed SB 1070 to prevent beheadings in the Arizona desert.
Which beheadings in Arizona were you referring to?
Oh, our law enforcement agencies have found bodies in the desert, either buried or just lying out there that have been beheaded.
Coroners and law enforcement have no records of beheadings in Arizona, so last night Brewer's Democratic opponent asked the governor to retract her claim because it continues to scare people and business away from the state.
Jan, I call upon you today to say that there are no beheadings. That was a false statement, and it needs to be cleared up right now.
And you know, Terry, I will call you out. I think that you ought to renounce your support and endorsement of the unions that are boycotting our state.
Which is kind of symmetrical because Goddard didn't endorse the boycott. The debate ended with the governor refusing to retract her claim and thereby triggering the even more bizarre Brewer post-debate press conference. She fielded question after question about headless bodies in the desert.
Brewer, why wouldn't you recant the comment you made earlier about the beheadings in the desert?
Seriously, that's a serious question, Governor.
Well, this was an interesting evening tonight, and of course you saw a complete display of the difference between myself and Terry Goddard. So we will continue to move forward.
Okay, but Governor, seriously, the fact is, if you're talking about, you were complaining about Terry Goddard and unions and people not coming to the state. Maybe people aren't coming here because you're making comments on Greta about headless bodies?
The big thing that didn't happen tonight was Terry Goddard never gave us a plan. Terry Goddard has never had a plan. If he has, he hasn't shared it. It's about time that he steps up and brings us a plan. This being governor is not an easy job, Terry. You need to get your plan out.
And what about the headless bodies?
Can you answer the question, Governor? Please answer the question.
About the headless bodies. Why won't you recant that? Do you still believe that? Come on, Governor.
Okay, thank you all.
Governor, what do you mean?
Governor,
Come on.
Joined now by Paul Waldman, senior correspondent with American Prospect magazine. Good evening, Paul.
Hi, Keith.
Isn't any campaign for any office in our land in some trouble if its candidate ever is to hear this question? What about the headless bodies?
Well, not necessarily. You know, that's not the only kind of crazy thing that she has said about this issue. She also said that most undocumented immigrants who come to America are drug mules. But as long as people in Arizona are talking about the crazy things that Jan Brewer has said about illegal immigration. If nothing else, they're still talking about illegal immigration, which is the issue that she wants this election to be all about. So although it doesn't necessarily put her in the best light, that's one thing that it does do for her.
The governor did respond to the headless torso question. She did a radio interview today, and she said the bottom line is that there have been beheadings in the border region in Mexico. Does that settle it politically, or politically speaking, are the headless bodies still alive?
Well, that's not going to satisfy the reporters there, and it really shouldn't, because she didn't say that there were headless bodies in Mexico. She said that there were headless bodies in Arizona, the state that she's governing. And, you know, the politically smart thing to do when you make a mistake like that is to just say, you know what, I was mistaken, I was wrong, and then everyone will move on. But when you're literally fleeing from reporters, it's just going to make them more eager to want to pin you down.
Yeah, because now, putting the two statements together, it appears that headless bodies are illegally crossing the border from Mexico to Arizona. So it's now more of a problem than it would have been if she just said, I screwed up. But the start of this, the lack of preparation, she allowed that her extended pause during the prepared remarks, that did not constitute her finest hour. But if you are a resident of Arizona and your governor just freezes there for 10 seconds and can't talk for 2 minutes about her accomplishments with a script in front of her, is there any, could this, even in Arizona, could this hurt a campaign?
Well, Brewer was something of an accidental governor. In Arizona, they don't have a lieutenant governor. So when Janet Napolitano became Secretary of Homeland Security, Brewer was the Secretary of State, the person in charge of elections, and she ended up becoming governor. So she wasn't necessarily all that prepared. But, you know, unfortunately, people don't always vote for the candidate who they think is the smartest or the most competent. You know, politics tends to be much more about things like identity, and as long as Jan Brewer can be the anti-immigrant candidate, she's going to be in a good position.
She has not taken the bait. There will not. She's now confirmed there will be no more debates with Terry Goddard before November. Is it plausible that this did anything seriously to her 20-point lead, or did she just wrap up the election by not saying anything further?
It may be. You know, before she signed SB 1070, her approval ratings were in the 40s. Now they're in the 60s. And the latest polls that I've seen show her with a double-digit lead over Goddard. So it's going to take something pretty dramatic